Damn gremlins on the internet line. Sorry about that. I looked at my modem and there was a whole bunch of errors on it, and I forgot to reboot it earlier, so there we go. It should be fine now. Kinda don't want to replace the modem, because I know I have to replace it anyway when Spectrum comes around with high split, because then I get symmetrical bandwidth, but meh. You heard your chest pop? That ain't good. Time to build your own ISP. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, so, I started my day officially as a, cybersecurity engineer. At least for a senior cybersecurity engineer. How's your new job? Well, today literally was logging in remotely just to do all the trainings for compliance and everything. So my manager just texted me this morning with my login to the HR system. Basically just sat for like 3 hours doing HR shit while I was watching YouTube, and then finished basically around like noon. So that's been my day today. Tomorrow will be the first day I'm actually in office, and then I get my laptop, I get the badge, I get all that stuff. I'll get access to all the systems and all that. Build your ISP with IPv6. The fuck I will! That's a death sentence. But yeah, so tomorrow I will be in office for the first time at my brand new job. It'll be interesting because new job, new team, don't know what their personalities are. So they, I don't know them, they don't know me. The most they know about me is basically from my GitHub, some code, and the one interview I had. I had 2 interviews and I was in. It was a phone interview with HR, which was, basically just reading me what the role was and, if I want, what the range was and all that stuff. And then the second interview was a Teams call with, I think there was like 5 people. If I recall, there was 2 architects, couple engineers, and my now manager. And they were just asking me a bunch of questions. They even were like, I'm not even gonna ask you a bunch of these questions because it would be offensive to basically ask you, because it's like so basic of these questions. And they were just asking me about a bunch of different other stuff, like how do I get information, because they're like, well, you probably have a different way to do it. I'm like, yeah, I got a Discord community, I got Signal groups, and I keep up on different things. And they're like, so if CrowdStrike messes up, what would you do? And I'm like, I'm gonna hold them accountable, I'll hold their feet to the fire, I'll find out what our SLA is, and basically say, hey, look, you agreed to this, you better do it or give us some credit or something. But yeah, so dash thing. Okay. And I'm learning stuff with Claude about my back end of what I'm building here. Like, it's now setting up the ISM, so the index state management is what I have to work next. So, open search feature that automatically manages index life cycles based on policies you define. Okay, so the hot phase is 0 to 30 days. That's everything that's on the NVMe. Warm phase is everything after 30 days. Delete phase is everything after 365 days. I can configure this. Okay. I technically have room for about 26 months of data, but I think 1 year's worth of data is more than enough on this. I think what I'm going to probably do eventually is I'm going to set up an open claw on an isolated system to basically be part of the community. At least for Twitch, Kick, maybe YouTube. I got to look at their API stuff. Maybe Discord and Matrix. Give it an email, stuff like that. But it's going to be very limited to what it can do, and I'm going to have it access only to my local LLM server. Okay, so we have my ISM templates loaded up. So right now, my logging server from days 0 to 30 should throw it on the NVMe. Days after that, warm it up. All right. And then re-indexing. It's doing a curl. Okay, it's curling it from... Okay, it's going to be copying over a couple gigabytes of data, I guess. Oh, about 77 gigabytes of data. So we're going to be pulling all the data back from January 30th. That's as far back as it goes. Opinions on managing your own software repo. What about it? I do it with Git. I mean, a bunch of us do it on GitHub. I've got like 30 different repos. I keep making various random pieces of software. I honestly need to stop coming up with stupid ideas for things that I'm like, hey, you know it'd be great, do this, and then just start working with Claude, going back and forth. Before it used to be, you know that'd be a great idea, but I don't have the time to do it. Now it's like, you know that'd be a great idea, and then I can do it with Claude in a matter of minutes and hours, and then just iterate on it, and then go over it and be like, hey, Claude, the way you did that was freaking stupid, so do it this way. What do you mean talking about Linux repos? I mean, for which it depends on the operating system. People do it. There are people that manage, you know, Arch user repositories and Debian packages and all that. Did anybody know you from your online accounts? No. Honestly, you'd be surprised how few people actually know me from when I'm offline. Like when I was at my old job, there was maybe like 2 people in the whole company that actually knew me from my online stuff. But then again, I'm not one of those people like that's like, oh, you don't know me? I'm an influencer. I'm not like that dude. Like, people that actually, you know, have met me at software conventions, they'll be like, do I know you from anywhere? And I'll be like, maybe, it's a possibility. You know, like, and then they'll be like, are you on social media? I'm like, who isn't on social media? And then some people will be like, are you on TikTok? I'm like, yeah, I'm on TikTok. And then, you know, like, it'll be like, I'm not, like, saying what my username is or, you know, bringing out, like, yeah, I got, like, this many followers. And they'll be like, oh, wait, are you Chief Geek? And I'm like, yeah? Personally, I just find social media is just a thing you have. I don't see the point in why people, like, let it get to their head. Look, I'm just a dude that has a social media account. I'm just a dude being a cybersecurity dude that is a dude online. Yeah. Oh, I also ordered a bunch of tea. So I'm getting back to drinking tea. I talked about that on the Discord earlier. So you'll see me drinking a lot more tea on the stream. Although, I do have some non-alcoholic drinks. Because here's the thing. I do like beer. But Yitz is an alcoholic, so he did manage to find me non-alcoholic Guinness. Because I'm a stout person. So I'm curious, because I've never had the non-alcoholic version. Shame Chief doesn't have a British plug kettle to warm that tea water with. Technically, I have an electric kettle over there. It's just attached to a 5-gallon spring water bottle that I have instant hot water whenever I need. So, I have an electric kettle. I just don't need the tiny little ones. What laptop would you recommend to start? One that turns on. You gotta give me a little bit more criteria. What are you trying to do with it? That's not bad, but it's like missing that, like, that alcoholic, little taste behind it that lets you know it's a Guinness. Like that smoothness that just, like, coats your tongue. The creaminess. Bro is wiping 100 years of British culture with the kettle tap. No, I'm pretty sure, we wiped that away about 250 years ago in the Boston Harbor. America! Not pouring it out of the can is the ultimate sin. I don't have a mug around here. But it doesn't really feel like that kind of, it doesn't have that, like, stouty feel. You know what I mean? To, like, necessitate the pour. Like, at least when you drink a proper Guinness out of a, you know, a can, you're like, yeah, I need to pour that because you can feel like the carbonation needs to be released. I don't feel this with this. It feels like, I don't know if flat is the word to say. Yeah. Basically, this does not feel like a full curvy, thick-breasted woman. This feels like I am having a... This feels like boy. And not in the good way. Wait, I made that sound like Jeffrey Epstein. That's not good. It's a woman with a boob transplant. I don't know about that. This is the first American I've seen drink Guinness. Oh no, we have Guinness all over the place. I prefer it out of a tap. Admittedly, we have a good stouts out here too. One of my favorite stouts though is it's made by Left Hand Brewery. It's called Nitro Stout. What is it? The milk ale? And then there's an oatmeal ale. What? There are pubs in America? Yeah. In fact, the meeting I go to for DEF CON, my local DEF CON group, we go to a place where there's just a wall of taps and there's a selection of 100 beers. And they change the selection about every week. And a bunch of them are local brews. Just call them bars? Yeah. If you call them a pub, it's usually something that like is going out of its way to be Irish or British and has half-assed British fish and chips. And I mean that in the worst way. Like, it tastes like you may as well have gotten it from Long John Silver's. If you don't know what that is, it's the worst seafood restaurant you will go to ever. Like, I don't know how they're even in business still. From now on, I'm sticking to my Portuguese wine. You know, I still got the bottle of wine that Zscaler gave me for my last job. They gave me this bottle, the Pessimist. They gave me that as a holiday gift. They gave everyone on my team a bottle. Or the fish and chips don't taste too good over the river either. Even at home. Well, you see, the thing is, at least you're knocked enough that you effed up enough that it don't matter. You're just eating food. Okay, so I have to do a bulk index. So I have to transfer 78 gigabytes over the network on a 1 gigabit line, from this box over here to my other box over in the network rack. So that's going to take a minute. Up in the Datadog shirt. It's comfy. Okay? It's comfy. Look, for any vendor that ever sees my content, you send me free shirts and I will wear them as long as they are comfy. My size is large. Just letting all vendors out there know. I accept payment in t-shirts and swag of all kinds. Like, have you ever seen the, Wayne's World? It's like people only do something because they get paid for it. While they're wearing, like, the, Pepsi things. Okay, it's fixing the raw transfer data, and I'm just fixing some of the format data, and then we'll get into reviewing some of the content. You know what, actually we can do that while we're doing that. But yeah, if you want to follow along with the pfSense sim stack, I should have all of this written up later. But this is also going to be part of my capstone project, I think, for my bachelor's degree that I'm working on, which I'm not going to be probably going on that for like 5 or yeah, it probably won't be happening for a few months at least. That'll be like the final class I have to do. What's the best Linux I can use? Well, you're just in luck. I made a video covering just that very topic. And it should be out. I think I actually just scheduled that to be released, I think tomorrow? Let me double check. Going to YouTube Studio. Yeah, it'll be released tomorrow afternoon. I've actually taken the opinion of, I'm making videos for a lot of the questions people most ask me. I meant to say Arch BTW. It's not Arch. I can tell you that. Okay. Alright, but let us get to... getting my audio system. My YouTube channel, I have the link in bio for it. It's literally the same username for all of my social media everywhere. So it's just Chief Geek 3D, Chief Geeked. Give me 1 second. I am going to get the audio up here so we can start continuing off with the content that we had last night. Thank God we finally caught up with the queue. I really need to figure out a way to script waking up that. Ow.
Front, left.
And for some reason it drops that to 30%. I don't know why.
Front, left.
Okay. Sweet. Cool. Alright, review on stream. So yesterday we watched the Elon Musk suit his way to being a Tesla founder. What's wrong with Arch Linux? Besides the fact that, you know, you won't touch grass and you're gonna be always building shit and, you know, you're always tinkering and fixing shit. And, oh man, I got so many jokes that my bot comes up with. It's funny. The memes write themselves, and the Arch users know about it. Rumor has it Chief uses Arch off stream. I don't even have arches in my house. I am so anti-Arch that every time I walk it through a Roman arch, I knock it off. Pretty sure if you use Arch, you become a virgin again. I'm pretty sure you do. Okay, so this is a video I came across. Why you can't fix your car anymore, the end of DIY. And as a DIYer, this kind of intrigued me. So about an 8-minute long video.
If you pop the hood of a 2026 vehicle, you do not see an engine. You see a wall of plastic. And if you try to remove that plastic, you are met with a financial nightmare. Tamper-proof screws,
I use Pop OS, I use Parrot
and
OS, I use
components
Cubes,
that are
I use
legally
Ubuntu for my
sealed shut.
servers.
We are witnessing the death of the driveway mechanic, but this is not an accident. It is a coordinated war on your wallet. Manufacturers want to turn every car owner into a lifelong tenant. They have sealed the hood, they have locked the software, and now they are charging you $200 an hour just for the privilege of fixing your own property. In this investigation, we are going to expose the manufacturers waging this war and exactly how they made your own truck illegal to repair.
You won't be able to do this with
We
us.
will show you why the hood of your truck is now a crime scene. And most importantly, we will reveal the only 2 options you have left if you want to avoid becoming a tenant in your own vehicle.
Old car and horse and buggy.
Here is exactly how they stole your truck. In the old days, if a window switch broke, you went to a junkyard, paid $5, and plugged in a new one. It was simple copper and plastic. Today, if you plug a new switch into a modern Ford or Chevy,
You got a whole fucking module. Wait, what?
the truck will reject it.
Wait, what?
Why? Because the manufacturers have put a digital serial number inside the switch.
It ain't just as simple as you just get a whole fucking module and unplug it and plug it back in. What the hell?
When you install the part, the main computer scans it. If that number does not match the factory list, the computer locks the system. The part is perfectly fine. The mechanics are fine, but the computer refuses to let it work. To unlock it, you have to tow the truck to the dealership. You have to pay them 1 hour of labor just to plug in a laptop and tell the truck that the new switch is allowed to exist. They have digitized the wrench and they kept the password for themselves. This is not about safety. It is about
Hack the planet and hack the cars.
killing the used parts market and forcing you to buy new, overpriced components directly from the dealer. But before they locked the software, they locked the hardware. Manufacturers call it value engineering. We call it a blockade. On a modern truck, simple maintenance has become a geometric impossibility. Take the headlight bulb. On a 1990 Silverado, it took 30 seconds and a screwdriver.
Yeah.
On a modern truck, you often have to remove the entire plastic wheel well liner or disassemble the front grille just to reach the bulb.
Wait, what the shit?
On many German cars, they have deleted the transmission dipstick entirely.
What the shit? You can't just like reach down into the well and then twist the thing and pull the bulb out like I did in my car? God damn it.
You cannot check your own fluid level. You have to trust a sensor on the dashboard. When that sensor fails, you do not just buy a sensor, you buy a whole new transmission. But the worst offender is the cab off repair. On modern Ford Super Duty trucks, the engine is packed so tightly into the bay that for many major repairs, the mechanic has to lift the entire cab of the truck off the frame.
What the shit?
What used to be a Saturday afternoon job in the driveway is now a $4,000 labor bill. Why? You cannot change a gasket without a $10,000 commercial vehicle lift. They claim this is for aerodynamics and packaging. That is a lie.
Why can't we just get tiny trucks like effing Ford Ranger? I want a 1990s effing Ford Ranger. I don't need these giant trucks that make you think that you're compensating for a tiny dick.
They want you to look at that cramped plastic-covered engine bay, feel overwhelmed, and hand over your credit card. You might think, at least I can still change my own battery. Think again. On many modern vehicles, including BMW and Ford, the car has a battery management system. If you buy a battery at an auto parts store and install it yourself, the car will not recognize it. The alternator will treat the new battery like the old, dying battery. It will overcharge the battery and destroy your new $200 battery in a month. To fix this, you have to register the battery to the car's computer. How do you do that? You have to go to the dealership and pay them a ransom to click a button. They have turned the simplest maintenance task into a subscription fee.
How much does it cost to just get a dealer computer? Better yet, how much does it cost a tech to just let me get a dealer computer off the back of a truck? Asking for a friend.
You cannot talk about this without talking about patient zero, John Deere. Farmers were the first victims of this war.
Yeah, F John Deere.
$500,000 on a tractor, but if a $50 sensor failed in the field, the machine would brick itself. The farmer could physically replace the sensor in 10 minutes with a wrench, but the software would not recognize it until a dealer drove out to the farm to bless it with a laptop. Farmers were left stranded during harvest, losing thousands of dollars an hour, waiting for a dealership to grant them permission to use their own property. The auto industry saw how profitable this was, and they copied it immediately. Now your truck goes into limp mode, not because it is broken, but because a sensor reading is slightly out of range, and the
You know, that's what you end up getting when you buy one of these oversized trucks. You go into limp mode.
manufacturer wants you to visit the service center. The goal is not just repair revenue, it is extortion. Manufacturers have realized they do not make enough money selling you the car once. They want to sell it to you every month.
Oh, manufacturers make enough money. The issue is the dealers. They realize that they don't make enough money, so they got to actually provide value for themselves. That, you know, like, because, like, dealers have so many different weird laws in so many states. There's a reason why some states don't allow manufacturers to directly sell to the customer. Like, as much as I don't like Tesla, one thing I did like about Tesla was they did push forward the direct consumer model. But in some states, they legally couldn't do that because there were regulations in place that required you to go through a dealer. And dealers upcharge whatever they want. Last time we renewed GM, it was $1,200 a year for the Tech to Win and GDS combo. Ford is $800 a year. Toyota is $900 a year. God damn. Yeah, the dealer groups lobby for it. They can lobby this. I heard Linux will try to push age verification. No, it's not Linux trying to push age verification. It's dumbass politicians that don't understand frickin' technology.
One example.
I have a video that'll come out about this. I just got to edit it. I literally recorded it this afternoon. So hopefully I'll have it done by this weekend.
BMW tried to charge customers $18 a month to use the heated seats that were already installed in the car.
M7350 for EFS
Toyota tried to charge a subscription for the remote start function on the key fob. Think about the arrogance of that.
What is it, the Obi or whatever I got?
You own the heating element, you own the key
$30
fob,
bucks.
but they put a digital toll booth between you and your property. This is not manufacturing. This is theft. They are trying to turn the automobile into a service, just like Netflix. And if you stop paying, they can turn off your features remotely. So is the driveway mechanic dead? Not yet. But he is being forced underground. We are seeing a massive rise in the black market for repairs. Farmers are buying hacked firmware from Ukraine to jailbreak their tractors. Mechanics are buying bootleg diagnostic software to bypass dealership locks. People are keeping 20-year-old trucks on the road at any cost, just to avoid buying a computer on wheels. Here is the verdict. If you buy a 2026 vehicle...
Straight up, if I have the money, I'd love to get a 1980s Wagoneer, Jeep Wagoneer, completely overhaul that baby, get that like a pristine inline 6, and roll that out. I'd love one of those. You ever seen them? The Jeep Wagoneers are like the predecessor to the Cherokees, but they have wood paneling. Good old trucks. I love the inline 6 on the old Jeeps. Reliable as hell.
You do not own it. You are merely the primary user of a data collection device that is owned by the corporation. They control the software, they control the parts, and they control the repair. If you want to own your vehicle, you have two choices. First, support the right to repair legislation in your state. Second, buy an older analog vehicle. Buy a truck where the hood opens to reveal an engine, not a plastic cover. Buy a car where the window switch is just a switch, not a computer node. The war on do-it-yourself is real. They have sealed the hood. They have locked the software.
Yeah, those 4.0 straight 6s are great, absolutely.
Reject the ransom. Keep the old iron running. And never let them tell you that you are not allowed to fix what you own.
Alright. So, let's see. Nero shared this. It was on Blue Sky. If a do-gooder attempts to mirror my rant into the Internet Archive, I'll personally be at the foot of your bed for your next... Oh, the context for this he also put in. Video Game Archive My Rant to shut down on March 31st. So, I'm not familiar with them. Over every game on the site is curated and checked against the checksum of a known good copy. Okay, so I guess this is a bunch of abandonware games. Interesting. This is unfortunate. Yeah, we're gonna get pushed up for a lot of these things. And what's this? Han shared this as a Kickstarter. An AMD AI HX 370 mini PC with a mechanical keyboard. This is nice. A 13-inch. This is like a weird format, though. Like, it's extreme widescreen with an RGB mechanical screen. 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM. The problem is, one, it's Kickstarter, so it's like, is it actually going to happen? Two, I mean, it's an interesting concept. I doubt it's going to make that price at $679 with 32 gigabytes of RAM at this economy. It'd be an interesting little device. But 1920 by 720, so that's like a really weird ratio there. And it's a Windows device. Ew. That's a touchscreen. Ew. But I mean, it's an AMD device, so it could run on Linux. I don't know. Maybe. I'd be curious. 21 by 9. Yeah, that's a weird ratio. I don't know. I'd rather get the ARM board upgrade for my little mini PC that I have. Okay, so what's this? PewDiePie. I trained my own AI. It beat ChatGPT. Of course, PewDiePie has his own money to do this kind of shit. If I had money like this, I'd do a lot of this kind of shit, but okay. So what'd he do?
The deed is done. I can finally return to this channel because I have done what I said I was going to do. Not that. We will get to that. I trained my own AI model. Yay! How long has it been?
I haven't heard of Dockhand.pro.
I'm making an orb, my own Palantir. I was hoping to share it by the end of this video, but it takes a long time, so. I feel like those bears coming out of hibernation. What happened? But the deed is done, and I ran the benchmarks. Official AI benchmark, and my model outperforms DeepSeek 2.5, way bigger model than mine. Facebook's flagship model, Llama 4 Maverick, destroyed. And most importantly of all, my model outperforms ChatGPT's 4. In like
it's a good thing to qualify it. It's a good thing to qualify it.
Sounds like impressive, but it's a way less impressive once we get into it, and we will get into it. It also sounds way less impressive considering the fact that I almost burned down my house twice for this project. It also sounds way less impressive. I lost my sanity for this. Now, I have not created my own AI. I have merely taken an AI model and trained it. It's like stealing a child on the street instead of birthing one myself.
So he's doing what I've been wanting to do. I just don't have the funds to do this.
Millions and millions of dollars in infrastructure, which I do not have yet. Am I talking about birthing or? But it's important for you to understand just how naive I was going into this, because I knew nothing about machine learning, training AI, and coding. Did I mention my model is a coding model? I can make a coding model. Sure, Felix. Great idea. But I also know I wasn't that crazy going into this, and I'll explain why. But mainly the fact that I wanted to do this was because I wanted to learn.
Does his finger hurt from the mic being on his finger like that?
The series of events has just been me approaching this philosophy of just, yes, this might be difficult, but I will learn from it. Step by step, you know, that takes you places. And that's why I'm so excited to announce today's sponsor, which is boot.dev. Boot.dev is a website that teaches you how to code, but for real. I did their Linux course and it's fantastic. When you actually understand how something works, it changes things for real. It's none of this Duolingo, bada-ba-bing, fake learning, okay? It's fun, it's engaging, and it works. I'm super excited to do their other courses as well. Create your own AI agent in Python course. I'm gonna say something that makes me sound like such a boomer dad, but I am at this point, so to heck with it. Instead of focusing on gaming too much lately, I've just been focusing on leveling up myself. But it's true. It's such
what
an
I've been
amazing
doing.
feeling. And I want you guys to experience it as well. And I think boot.dev is an amazing venture to do so. So check it out in the description, and I will remind you later as
I actually am in touch with boot.dev as well. I was, yeah, waiting to hear back from them.
well, okay? Now, funny enough, to train my model, AI model, ironically, it works very similar to how you would train on yourself on boot.dev. There's an instruction of a problem, you get a framework on how to initiate or what to use, and then there's a validated answer at the end of it. Basically, I gathered around 100,000 samples like that, and then you feed that to the model, which slightly nudges its parameters, like it slightly probably nudges your brain. And bada bing, bada boom, you have trained your model. It's kind of like this. Your AI, look at this. Are you learning? Are you getting this? You will look at these. You will look at 100,000 more. Pay attention. This might take a while. The model that I used was Gwen32B, which is already
I'm running Quen. Except I'm running Quen 314B because I don't have a big enough GPU. I only have 16 gigabytes on my 5060 Ti. He's probably got money for 5090s. If I get DGX Sparks, I'm gonna be running Quen 230B.
already amazing at coding, but I needed it to be amazing at coding in this format. The whole reason I decided to do this and where I landed, because I discovered something. There are many ways to benchmark and test your model.
What the fuck is that view?
I discovered there's one called Aider Polyglot. If you remember last video, I used the agent Aider to code my own web UI. This is a respectable benchmark that tests coding in 6 different languages. That's 6 more languages than I know. But what was interesting about this is that state-of-the-art models like ChatGPT perform like garbage on this benchmark. 18.2%? What?
Yeah, a lot of the big models, people are surprised when I say they actually do perform like garbage. And there's a reason why I keep telling people, like, Quen has surprised the shit out of me. There's Quen 3.5 right now. But yeah, when I get like 2 NVIDIA DGX Sparks, I'm trying to pay down some bills so I can go get that. I'm going to tie them together over ConnectX 7 with 200 gigabit per second networking between the two. And I know some people are like, well, Chief, why don't you just get Macs? Well, the problem is a Mac will only get 10 gigabit networking. And even if you get 2 of them, you know, you pay just as much for, you know, the DGX Sparks, but then they're a lot slower with scale. But you can really only do 2 DGX Sparks, but yeah.
Model that I was planning to train on performs 8%. Trash. But
Harvard is basically giving free tuition to low-income family. Yeah, but I make too much money now. I think I'm considered, like, upper middle now. I think. Hold up. What is middle class in USA? Holy shit! Yeah, I'm upper middle now. My senior job pushed me to upper middle. I'm still middle, but I'm on the upper side. Moving on up, moving on up, moving on up. But yeah, I'm broke when it comes to California, but California's fucked, okay? I'm sorry. If you live in California, you're fucked. And if you think California's great, look, I had family that lived in California. There's a reason why they moved out, because they realized it's fucked. But anyway.
It performs 16% if you use a different format called whole format instead of diff format. Basically, there's two different formats, but one of them is important. How do I explain this?
It's basically like this. You draw a picture, okay? Imagine you draw a picture and you want...
Cali is such a pretty state. Amazing how borked it is, though. Cali is nice, but, like, more when you're in, like, the northern side of it. I did live in California. But, like, in order to be in, like, the really nice side, you have to have, like, a lot of money. Like, you need to have, like, the ability to have 6 zeros in your bank account. And I mean, not preceding the, you know, number in your bank account. I mean, succeeding the numbers in your bank account. Basically, you need to have, like, 1 million. There's lots of places that are more beautiful but more affordable. But a lot of them are expensive. Opus 4.6 is expensive, but it's pretty damn good. Yeah, I'm using 4.6 right now. It's helping me build a lot of this shit. But if you use it through GitHub Copilot Pro, it's pretty cost effective because it charges by request. And I have, like, what? 1,500 requests per month on the Pro Plus for $40. And one request, you know, it's multiple queries, so there you go.
to add a cloud. But instead of just adding the fucking
like
cloud,
in the
you
Midwest
redraw the entire picture with the cloud. It makes no fucking sense. But basically, a lot of these models, they struggle to understand the format of just editing.
He had Claude build you a Windows debloat tool, which would block Bing and remove Edge and Copilot. I could have saved you a lot of time. And you wouldn't need Claude for it. Just install Linux. I have Bing blocked on my firewall. Like, I'll prove this. What do you think's going to happen, chat? It's blocked network-wide. You can't use Bing in my house.
The code instead of just writing the whole thing.
You rocked up 700 on the month with Pro Max plan with 4.6. I haven't run past the $40 a month with Opus 4.6 since I've gone on with that. And then I have my Olama set up with Quen 14B and Gemma 12B, and then there's Gemma 3, 4B on the smaller GPU.
It's just stupid. It wastes compute and it wastes time, and I never used it as well. So I thought, hey, if I can just fix the format, I will make my model 16%, and that will almost beat ChatGPT. The goal, beat ChatGPT.
If you're banned from using Bing in my house.
Because what I had on my side,
Bing is an IOC.
Was Chinese.
It is an
AI
indicator of
research.
compromise in this house.
You'd think China would be on the more censorship side of things. At least that's what I thought. How wrong I was. It's completely the opposite. DeepSeek, Chinese AI, basically just released their model for anyone to run, and a whole document with their entire training process in great detail. It's amazing. There's
Okay, so I will say this. DeepSeek's model does not know certain parts of history. Like, it does not know. We've tested this, at least in the past. I haven't tested it again recently. But I remember when we went through, like, Tiananmen Square, it did not know about what happened in 1989. And it got a few facts twisted about Zhang Zhixi and Taiwan. But yeah.
So much.
Which career should I go for, cybersecurity or IT? Just curious from someone who is in IT. Depends on where you want to go. Some people like being in IT. Some people like being in cybersecurity. I've done both. I will say that you can't really be in cybersecurity without being in IT at some point. Because, like, a lot of people think, oh, I can just go straight into cybersecurity, and I'm like, not really.
Information from these research documents combined with the open source community. There's so much to try, and it just makes you really want to try it yourself. At least that's how I saw it, even though a lot of it was super advanced and I didn't understand anything. Eventually I did, I think. It's also hilarious reading these documents. Chinese AI researchers are unironically comedians because they write the most unhinged shit. They say shit like, oh, we trained our model on 2048 GPUs. And you're like, what? That's like $60 million. And
That's actually not a lot. I know that sounds like a lot to you. And it is a lot in terms of, like, numbers of GPUs. And to the average person, that sounds like a lot. But in terms of a data center, that's not a lot. But yeah, and like, yeah. Small loan of $1 million, yeah. You want to go into cybersecurity and IT and community college as a community college are cheap. I didn't go to college for cybersecurity until I've been in IT and cybersecurity for about 15 years. And only now am I getting my degree in cybersecurity as a senior cybersecurity engineer. I only have an associate's in network system administration and a CISSP. Have you messed with Yocto? Why does that sound familiar? Doesn't ring a bell.
you keep reading and they're like, we emphasize this is an economical approach. I'm like, economical? What's the non-economical version? But I think that kind of puts things in perspective and why a lot of companies in the West, they don't want to share information. So with Chinese AI research on my side and a boot dev,
do you have any at-home media server?
I was ready to do
kind of, sort of.
Now, what do you need
Not
to
really.
train AI? Data. Now, how
I have
do you
an
get
ass,
data
but
without sacrificing your
I
soul
haven't
in the
gone down
process?
that route
Well,
yet.
There is options, believe it or not. You can mine the stack, which is this 60 terabyte data set that you're allowed to train on. Good thing I kept my hard drives around. You can use publicly available data sets. You can also mine Git, which is a little more of a gray zone because you have to check for licenses, which I'm sure everyone is doing, right? These big tech companies, they're being super ethical and great about it, I'm sure. That's why they're not sharing any information. And
Cybersecurity is hard, really hard,
synthesize
bless your heart.
data.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, I guess I've been doing it a long time. Yocto, build your own custom Linux distro. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. I have an Associates of Occupational Studies in Computer and Network Technology and hit senior level of my career in 8 years. Nice.
Glorious synthetic data. So tastes so good. I tried every single method there is. It's been a mess.
Am I cool now?
This is scraping.
I was using
Git
real to
or
Brid many
machine
years
line
ago. I mean,
data.
it's just a
this
thing.
Is scraping for more data. This is running testing
using
on
torrent
the data,
and real to
and
Brid.
this is augmenting the data. And this is my 8 LLMs. This is the level we've reached.
This project was kind of like, I was like in the middle of a freeway and there's a bunch of cars that I have to direct constantly because shit
There
had
is
to
no
move
the best.
for
It's
this to
whatever you
finish.
get access to
Everything
media.
took so much time. And my
I have to go
GPUs had
back
to
for a CS
constantly
degree to
be
keep
cooking.
moving up.
And I had to do all these
Yeah, I
makeup,
can feel
cosmetic
that.
surgery to the data because all these developers writing poor.
The honest truth is I'm just going to WGU just so I can rocket through it. I started in January and I knocked out technically 15 classes for my associate's degree and my CISSP. I've passed another 7 classes. I'm waiting for 1 to be graded, and then I'm waiting for another 1 so I can get the test for. I've got, hold on, list is right here. This is the curriculum I put together of my shit with the certs that I have. So I got my A+ as part of it, Network Plus and ITIL 4. I got to get the Security Plus, which is funny as shit to me because I already have a CISSP. I got to wait for my grade on the digital forensics. Project management is next with Project Plus grade. So basically I'm waiting on, I got to pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 classes, but I've already passed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that right? 3, 6. Yeah, 8 classes, waiting for the grading on the 9th. And I've only been in school since January 1st. Is Burp Suite still a thing? Yes, it is. Tried Kodi, but it's still so slow. I don't know. I use StreamYard. I still use Kodi. I used it back when I was Xbox Media Center. The thought of the gen ed classes intimidate me more than the certs. Yeah, gen ed slowed me. You're doing the accelerated bachelor's, master's. Yeah, I'm just doing the bachelor's, not so much accelerated, but I'm just doing it at my pace because a lot of this shit's so basic for me. You might want to touch up on their older stuff for Security Plus. CompTIA doesn't like to delete questions from their bank. Oh, I did the practice test that they had, and I scored a 95%. Stupid easy.
Lazy. First of all, why do you even publish some of that? Lazy instructions. Don't make a commit if you're just gonna add a comment. But finally,
what did you put in general?
But I still knew I needed more. And I also wanted to try out synthetic generation of data, which is basically, you typically take the strongest model that you have and you ask it, hey, look at this. Make more in this format. And my God, it was a beautiful thing. Mwah. You get the perfect data exactly the way you want it. It's amazing. But the problem is, and maybe you already know.
There were no 98 and XP error questions in my A+ when I went through it.
Okay, it's basically like this. I tell AI my drawing skills have really I'm sure glad I learned how to draw. I tell AI make a burger by showing him a burger, and then AI makes what looks like a burger, but I open the lid and he put razor blades in there. So my harness is a burger eater to check that if real burgers are made instead of fake burgers. I think I explained that pretty well.
You lied to me! My synthetic approach, I know that most people don't care. I use OSS Instruct from Magic Coder and Evol Instruct, which is an amazing method. It's basically like that cloning dancing guy technique. You feed a code snippet and then you say, hey, make it into this format, and also make it do another one, but make it more advanced. I don't want to get into it. This technical, it doesn't matter. This video will take forever. But the problem I had was I was not getting enough of it. And I don't trust, okay? I don't trust like that, okay? So I validated it. I kept thinking the problem was my test harness. So I needed to fix that. What an idiot! That just made it so I passed more garbage. So when the time
gaming
came
on
for me to
Linux a thing in 2026?
after
Yeah.
months.
Have you heard of the
I was
Steam
so
machine?
excited. I ran
heard
the
of the Steam
benchmark,
Deck?
and I had made an AI model that finally, that was worse. I had made it worse. I probably should have quit then, but I am way too stubborn for that. I just can't. I don't have it in me. I can't do it. This is when you realize AI is kind of like magic, right? But it also isn't. Garbage data in, garbage data out.
Yeah,
There
that's
was a
pretty much
lot
how
of
it
issues
works.
with my data. When I had fixed my harness, I had just let more garbage data pass through. There was also all these other issues like empty white spaces and classic coding issues that I just wasn't aware about. So that's why I had made it worse. But I gave it another attempt. And this time, no more mistakes. No more dilly-daddling. Lock in. Again, the model is worse. It was my harness yet
I
again.
haven't touched Windows for at least a year
I
now.
don't know why
Nice.
I got so stuck on this fucking thing. Well, I didn't
I
even
only
need
touch it 'cause I
synthetic
have
data.
to
I
for
just
work.
wanted it to work. I
And
just wanted it to work so bad.
this machine.
Finally, I had fixed the fucking thing, and the benchmark came in 16%. Sometimes 15, sometimes 14, but 16 was the highest. the model is just not going to solve the same problem every time. It just doesn't work like that. There is a level of randomness to it, to the benchmark performance. But 16 was the ceiling, and that makes sense because that was the ceiling in the official whole format or whatever. And I had fixed it so it's in the diff format, but I had not made a fucking difference. I had not made the model smarter. And remember, I need to beat 18% to say that I beat ChatGPT. Otherwise, this means nothing. So, my plan of attack was to add reasoning to my data. Adding reasoning to your data is basically making it write out some thinking before it solves the problem. Instead of doing 2 plus 2 in your head, you go, oh, okay, so let me break this down. So I'll have 2 apples, and then if I add 2 more apples, and then I count them all together, then I will have 4. This is really effective for complicated issues to break down the problem into parts. And
So AI is kind of dumb because I actually have to tell it, like, so I have rules. Here, I can actually show this. Let me log into the Raspberry Pi that oversees okay, so this is the Raspberry Pi that oversees when I go live. So as you can see, it's updating the embeds and all that. This is the one that whenever I go live will make the posts on Blue Sky, Mastodon, Discord, and Matrix that I'm live. But it talks to my local LLM server, so as you can see, it's talking, and then it'll say, posted to 4 platforms. So let me see where I can, see the initial one. Okay, so checking streams, stream restart. Okay, making an announcement. Generated message has 1 issue, too many emojis. So even though I gave it the rule initially to have only 1 emoji, it will still break the rule. So then I have to have guardrails to retry. And then it will be like, generated message has 2 issues. It still has too many emojis. So it'll retry several times until finally we get, 1 post that's okay over here. And it's like, okay, the Mastodon post is okay. And then it'll keep retrying for the rest of them until, all of them are good. And then, okay, posted to all 4 platforms. So, yeah. And then this is just it updating the thumbnails for Discord. So I actually give it live thumbnails. So every couple of minutes, it actually updates with the number of viewers on each platform. That's just a feature you can do with Discord. Is I2P on Android possible? Yeah, it is. PewDiePie post-retirement is such a contrast to his old self. Hey, I'm happy for him. I hope I get to this point where I can retire and do shit like this. Like, he's just doing side quests. Like, honestly, if I can get to the point where I can retire and just do all of my side projects, like, imagine what I will be able to do. Like, all of you that have seen me just the past week, all the random shit that I've done, just imagine what I could do if I were just building shit all the time. If I just could spend the money that I needed on all the shit I wanted to do and devote all my time. Like, just a week, I already cranked out, like, edited, like, 6 videos, and, put out a bunch of streams, built a bunch of different projects, made a bunch of different code and everything, but yeah.
And it really can improve the performance of the AI, but when it's simple questions and it still does it, it can be very, very irritating as well.
You've probably seen this actually if you use a stronger AI model. A lot of times you ask it questions and it goes, oh, absolutely. Well, let's break this down into parts. First, we're gonna, and you're like, that was a simple yes or no question. What do you mean? But it's a really effective way to make your model solve problems more accurately. And a lot of these smaller open source models that I train on struggle with this because they just haven't been trained on it enough. So that was my plan of attack to make my model smarter. And I found a study that showed that 10% in performance. I'm like, 10%? That's way more than I need, baby. Let's just clone this Git repo and get going. The only problem was, of course, that the ungodly level of computation that was needed for this. And that's when things were starting to smell funny. I realized my room had this weird aura to it all of a sudden. I swear it didn't used to smell
Oh no, he let the magic blue smoke out.
like that. So I decided to reboot my computer and lightning strikes all across it. Smoke starts pouring out. My whole life flashed before my eyes. I turn off the computer, but the damage was done. One of my GPUs had died. Rest in peace. I tested each one by one, and it seemed like everything else was okay. It was just this one problem. And looking at my purchase history, that one GPU came from a different factory. You have to understand what a hack job this setup that I have is, okay? It's bifurcated, it's undervolted to death. This GPU's run on 450 watt, I run it on 175 watt. Just so my house wouldn't fucking crash every time. And then these are hacked Chinese 4090 GPUs. This whole thing is held together by prayers. Literally. In Japan, they sell these.
Kind of interesting you went for 4090s, because I would have, if I were in his shoes, I think it would have been more cost effective to have gone and spent a little bit more money to gone for the RTX Pro 6000 Blackwells. Because each of them has a bit more VRAM and compute, but to each their own.
These prayer-infused IT badges. Where is it? It's in front of my computer. An official Japanese priest. I probably have now blessed my computer and I was ready to give it another shot. Only for the smell to appear again.
Yeah, they may have been really sketch, but we saw an earlier video with Wendell from Level 1 Techs, who y'all know as, like, my favorite tech YouTuber. I've been watching the guy for years since he was on Tech Syndicate. Like, I'd have to say out of all the tech YouTubers, I've learned the most from him. He ran through a lot about bifurcation, education, and things like that. He talked about the flaws with his setup over here. And I learned a lot from running Bitcoin miners when I was doing GPU mining and everything. And yeah, there's just a lot of things I would have done differently in this setup here. But I don't have the money to run this kind of thing. Like, look, if and when I pay down some bills, because look, I had a hole in the roof I had to fix, had to put windows in. Obviously, that was a higher priority. If I pay that shit down, you're damn right I'm getting to build something like that. Or at least, I'm going to be getting myself a couple of NVIDIA DGX Sparks. At minimum. To just start for inference, and then, work off of that. But yeah.
After sniffing my GPUs like a maniac, I concluded my GPUs was not the problem this time. And eventually, I found it. I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Again, I was using a cable that was graded for 1500 watt. I was running over 2000. Changed cable.
Good God. Yeah, if I were in his boat, I would have... Now, look, another thing many of you know, I used to do an electrician in my much earlier life. I would have run a dedicated circuit for that, so I wouldn't have run an extension cord. So in my network rack, I actually have a dedicated 20 amp circuit to my network rack. So I can run whatever I want there, and 20 amp... let me see, 20 amp, 20 times 120, with the 20% overhead. You can run about 1920 consistently on that. But what I would have done in his case is I would have run a 220 circuit, and then give that a 20, and that gives you 3,500 watts you could run on a circuit. Like, I wired up this whole basement properly. Like, this corner, just this corner of the studio, has one 20 amp circuit to itself. The ham shack and that whole wall over there has another 20 amp circuit. The 3D printers themselves have another 20 amp circuit. And then there's the original 15 amp circuit over there. So... yeah, there's a lot that he kind of did that he shouldn't have done. And the extension cable didn't really help that. So, I would have told him, dude, before you do any of this, get an electrician. Wire your shit up right. It's better to do things right before you do it wrong, because a couple thousand, like, let me put it this way. People think electricians are expensive. You know what costs more? A fire. Okay? Weigh the cost of having to rebuild your shit versus a rewire. Okay? So you know those holes that you see in my ceiling in the videos? That was me running new wires. So, just put that out there. Now, I'm at the point where my service panel's pretty much maxed out, and I'm looking at getting a new house in a few years. But yeah. You're damn right, my next house. I'm looking for so much criteria. Like, I need a roof of a certain type for the ham radio. I need service panels that I can expand into. I need, you know, fiber access. And there's going to be so many things for my realtor. They're not going to like me.
We were good to go. My computer kept crashing still.
Oh, it's still... thought it crashed. It has crashed. Oh, fuck. What a pile of...
You'd think training would be just this straightforward thing, but it's really not. It's taking too long to train. I need more compute, okay? What am I gonna do? It's not my fault. I know what you're thinking. Felix, are you building another computer? No, I am just extending the one I have. Of course. Of course, I'm an epic minimalist. I had to
To be fair, I would have extended the same thing too, but...
steal the circuit from my bathroom and I drilled the hole.
Dude, just get an electrician! I know you can afford it!
It's super heavy on your computer, and every time it crashes, I have to fucking defibrillate it back. Bring it back from a coma. It's not pleasant. With everything that had happened in the past, extremely stressful.
I technically have 2 circuits over where my rack is. I forgot. I have the original 15 amp basement circuit that's there, and the 20 amp that I put there.
And I really...
His breaker holds 400 amps. I don't know, but he's at least got a 200 amp panel. Depending on the size of his house. I don't know what the size of his house is.
really started out...
But I mean, I got a 200 amp panel and I can do quite a bit with it.
What the fuck I'm doing here for these 2%. I started calling upon DeepSeek API because it's practically for free. And eventually I had 15,000 samples, which is way less than I had aimed for. But these were the top of the top, the creme de la creme samples that I have, with the most beautifully crafted step-by-step reasoning the world has ever seen. I did my supervised fine-tuning, 3 epochs, and I ran the benchmark, and it scored
17!
Are you fucking kidding me? But as I mentioned, the performance is kind of random. So I kept running the benchmark. I had eventually given up, but I had done one more just for the fuck of it, and I noticed, holy shit, this one is having like a god run. It's at 40%. What is happening? It drops to 30. I'm like, hold, please hold. It drops to 25. It drops to 20, and it finally finishes all the exercises in the benchmark. It is done at 19.6%. I have beat ChatGPT and less! It felt so goddamn good. Stop! Stop! Don't listen to this guy. The benchmark is invalid. I did not check for contamination before the benchmark. Basically, if you grab data all across the internet, there's a high chance that you're gonna grab data that might already exist in a benchmark somewhere. So you have to check for contamination. I didn't check for contamination. I didn't want to check for contamination. But my stupid conscience was like, oh, I should probably do it. I was backing up, going through my data for the gazillionth time, and I realized there was some contamination. It's not a huge deal, but it's like if I just
am honest, whatever, to me it's not good enough. And I want to clear out my data, and I'm gonna retrain again, benchmark again, and I'm hoping, and I think it will still give me the same result because it's such small contamination. I'm kind of worried because I'm running out of time.
Have I done fuck all this entire time? Have I achieved nothing this entire time and the whole thing was a hocus pocus? That's what I thought. So this time I went all out. I trained on my entire data set. Previously, I trained on a small subset of what I thought was my best data because it takes forever to train. It takes forever. It takes days, weeks.
He's used Linux
And
long
since I
enough to
reached
grow a
this score
neck
of 90
beard. Yeah. Here's the thing. If you notice, I work very hard to make sure there's no neck beard. Like, I purposely at least always try to trim up here because I'm not getting lumped in with y'all motherfuckers.
18.6, I was like, I'm done. But not. Then I made another discovery. I was training on the wrong model.
A major update. I'm watching my video. This guy. I'm giving feedback to my editor, and I'm like, hold on, what is that? That is not the coder version. That's the regular version. Have I been training on the wrong version this entire time?
Yeah, probably.
Oh. Ah! So maybe this has all been a blessing in disguise, because I feel like with these two things in mind, I should beat ChatGPT. I should, but we will know in a couple days.
Did I beat ChatGPT? Well, I trained on the coding model, and the first score, 4.4%. Ah! I don't know what the fuck happened. I can probably think of 5 things, but I don't care to figure it all out. It's gonna take forever. I just retrained again. And the model score, 25%, baby.
Yeah.
I have not just beat ChatGPT, I beat ChatGPT twice. Their August shitty version as well. I was so relieved. I was like, thank God. But I made another discovery. It's not over. A third of the benchmark was not even running. C++ and JavaScript just wasn't being tested properly. So I fixed the benchmark, I run it again, and the final score, 36%, baby.
Oh, nice.
This means I also beat Google Schmoogle's thing as well. And I think I beat 4.1 or something. I don't know, ChatGPT. It's a massacre out here. You're being destroyed. It's embarrassing. OpenAI stock just demolished. Just quit already. This is what pops the AI bubble. But I was like, there are still issues. I'm gonna do some post-training. 1,500 samples, splinky blinky, 5 epochs, and I ran the benchmark again. Pure decontaminated, let it be known. Purer than the fountain of youth. 39.1%, baby. Another I think this one I beat Google Schmoogle. Where's the stupid benchmark? Yeah,
Oh yeah, us Linux users definitely are more respected if we laugh at each other. That's why we make fun of Arch users.
Ever come close? But
And they make
here's
fun
the
of themselves,
embarrassing
too.
Part about all of this, I train on Gwen 2.5, but Gwen 3 is out, and it scores 40%. So unless I beat 40%, this means nothing. And I'm out of time. I don't have fucking time. I need to send this video to my editor. Yes, there was one more thing. A model being good at one benchmark is stupid as fuck, okay? I need to test this model on other benchmarks as well. I want to test it on Swebench, all these other coding benchmarks. Unless it improving that, I don't even know. I am just out of time, okay? I don't have time to do it, but I will. And if this model ever gets to a point where I feel like it's good enough, I would love to share it. But I think if anything, I might just move on to a different project in the background because it takes a long time and I'm kind of tired. That being said, you've seen me fail a lot in this video. I have become so accustomed to failure, you have no idea. I've almost given up on this project so many times. There are so many times where I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is the stupidest thing ever. I have graveyards full of just garbage, debunkle, schmunkle, deformed data that I have generated thinking, this is the best. I have gone through the whole alphabet of failures. I was just so way in over my head on this project. But I think the number one thing I've learned, how do I explain this? When you install Linux, here's what happens. Linus Torvalds, the creator, becomes your godfather, inevitably. And I was watching one of a random video of him talking, and he was talking about how he's doing this project, and he was failing, but that's okay, because that's how you learn.
Some people think that failure is a bad thing, and I happen to be one of those people who actually enjoy doing things I'm not good at.
This is true. This is true. This is what I tell people all the time. You know, like when people are like, I fail so much at this shit. And I have the mentality of you learn more from failure than you do from success. Like, how did I get to the point of where I know so much? Because I've learned a lot of ways not to do things. You know? So don't be afraid of failure. Embrace failure as learning opportunities.
Because it's how you learn.
And I'm watching that, and I'm like, he's speaking to me right now. Oh my God. But I really feel like that's the main thing I've learned from all this. Because there's so much to learn from.
Oh, yeah, and that's the reason why I left my last job, because when there were issues, and it wasn't like, they weren't big enough F-ups. Like, they were like, okay, there was, an issue here. I'll get deeper into it, like, in a week or two. I've talked about it, like, a little bit. But it wasn't enough to warrant issues. Like, I got apologies from almost everyone in the company that was involved in the incident, short of the VP, who can go F himself. I was the only one that raised the point of, okay, so I accidentally caused this issue, but now that we know that this is an issue, why was it that this one computer was able to bring down a whole network in that way? Shouldn't we be looking at that failure as something that we should be plugging a vulnerability for? And nobody else listened to me when I'm like, okay, so we're just going to completely ignore that one machine took down the Active Directory and made it unstable for like multiple weeks and you couldn't figure this shit out. While one of our vendors' softwares we were POCing went on the fritz.
From failure. Learn from it and reiterate and keep.
Yeah, it's a massive
I think
discovery.
If you have expectations of how things should go.
They were just like, well, you had it on one of your test laptops and you didn't know it was running. And I'm like, I knew exactly. And I was like, I named every single software that was running on there. Y'all were just like thinking I was intentionally doing bad things. And I raised the point of, how was it that A, a vendor's piece of software was running in such a fashion that it was hitting your Active Directory so hard? And B, why was your Active Directory allowing that many connections at one time that it caused that kind of unstable connection that one machine was able to create so much of an authentication issue for thousands of users? Still haven't got an answer to this day.
For yourself, you're just gonna get disappointed and you're gonna want to give up. So expect to fail, embrace failing.
Oh, that was one of the reasons why I left.
To you kids.
If you're not willing to accept that there's an issue there and instead roll it onto, well, you should have known better,
say this as well. It was basically
and then
coding models
throw that into my
being able to
performance
bring in more
review.
people interested in learning how to code. Again,
Yeah.
he's speaking to me right now.
Oh, I exposed incompetence, and they they lumped that in as a reason why they didn't want to give me a raise or a bonus, and that's when I was like, oh, they even wanted I'm gonna get more into this like in a week or two once I compose my thoughts, but that was when I was like, okay, that's fine. I've already been looking at offers, so I'm gonna go over at this job that's offering me 40% more. Bye.
I've wanting to learn how to code if it wasn't for AI coming into the picture. So on the final note, learn something.
Oh no,
new.
I wasn't
Check out
interviewed.
boot.dev. I highly recommend it. It's a great course. Pick out whatever you want. Challenge yourself into something difficult that may be above what you think you're capable of. That's it. Now scram! I'm just kidding, Profis.
This month we're traveling a lot, and what
Okay.
I always
That was interesting. I do want to build a setup like he has, I just don't have the money. No, it wasn't a complete breach. It was an ITDR proof of concept software we were having, which is supposed to be able to tell you your threat landscape. But it was hitting Active Directory so much, so fast, that Active Directory was derping out. But yeah. Anyway. I can't stand being at companies like that where you find an issue and then they throw you as the problem. And I'm like, all I did was do my job, test some software, and y'all are trying to throw me under the bus. Thankfully, my architect in that situation stood up and was like, look, he ran software I told him to test, and if anyone's going to get dinged, it should be me, because he was following my directions. Use containers for Discord or any software? I use Flatpak. So this is from Futurism. Getting back to the content we got to review. OpenAI massively cuts spending plan as reality closes in. So OpenAI has been cutting down their spending. After Gerstner challenged him on a company with $13 billion in revenues can make $1.4 trillion of spend commitments through 2030, Altman got catty. If you want to sell your shares, I'll find you a buyer, Altman snapped. Enough. Like, this is a legitimate question to be asking. You're making $13 billion. Why are you committing $13 billion in revenue, per year, and you have a spend that is over 100 times what you're making? I think that's 100 times. Yeah. Anyway, at the time, despite certain pangs of panic over a growing AI bubble, the hype was at an all-time high. OpenAI was already burning through oodles of cash, committing, But the tone has noticeably shifted since then, with investors growing uneasy about big tech trying to one-up each other with astronomical planned capital expenditures, further restraining a stock market that's become massively over-indexed on AI. Which, by the way, I have an entire other video that I've actually recorded about Claude security being a little bit overhyped. I gotta edit that, so that'll be one of the 2 videos that should be out soon. Which distro do you use? Pop OS. TIL flight sims are, unlike driving sims, support controllers automatically in the Linux kernel itself, not third-party software. Nice! Today I learned. Okay, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of yokes and stuff that work in Linux, no problem. There's been a lot of because a lot of planes and stuff actually use Linux, I've learned over the years working in aviation. But yeah, they've been cutting a lot of spending. Altman has seemingly noticed the company may be in way over its head. As CNBC reports, the company is now telling investors it's targeting around $600 billion in total compute spend by 2030, which is well under half of its original $1.4 trillion commitment. To put that into perspective, the company made just $13.1 billion in revenue for all of 2025, which, while also burning through $8 billion. Yeah, they're not gonna... I don't think they're even gonna make that money. And then to follow up, Business Insider top economist Steve Hanke says AI is overhyped and potentially dangerous, which is something that I've been saying for a while. He says there's excessive buzz around AI and it could end badly. Told the Business Insider by email that he agrees with Yan Li Kun, Meta's former chief AI scientist and a pioneer in the field, who's warned that large language models such as ChatGPT just aren't that revolutionary. I agree with that. They are great tools, but they're not this revolutionary thing. They just happen to be a little bit more popular now. The chatbots have their uses, but on the path towards human-level intelligence, an LLM is basically an off-ramp, a distraction, a dead end. Yeah. He told Business Insider last October that whether the market exuberance turned out to be rational or irrational would largely depend on whether AI firms' spectacular revenue forecasts hold water. Michael Burry of The Big Short fame has warned tech giants are overinvesting in microchips that could quickly become obsolete and could see disappointing returns. Yeah. And Louis Rossman made a video over here, don't blame System 76 because California wants to ruin Linux. Be mad at the right people. So I think he's talking about the California law, which I recorded a video on earlier today, that I'll have out probably later this week. Unfortunately, I'm not a full-time content creator. I have a job, so I have to do things. But yeah, maybe I'll have that out, edited tomorrow night. Maybe, if I have time. Now that I got the laptop upstairs for my tuxedo laptop, I actually can, do that. I finally got it updated and everything. It feels more like an augment than actual replacement of labor, in my honest opinion. I agree with that. I legit don't understand why California wants to push this trash bill. I don't understand it either. Other than the fact that you have to understand that most lawyers are idiots. I'm going to be honest with you. Most lawyers are idiots with technology. My lawyer, he's great. But he will be honest with me when I'm talking to him about legal issues I'm dealing with in cybersecurity, and I'm trying to figure out the gray areas and stuff, and I have to walk him through the technology and what I'm doing, and he'll be like, I don't know anything about this. You have to explain to me what you're doing when you're doing a physical pen test. Like with lockpicking and all this, like all that. And, so I have to explain to him, and then he'll understand it from that perspective. Most politicians are lawyers. And most of these politicians are freaking idiots. I'm going to be honest with you. They know what they know, but they know very little outside of what they know. And very little of them know about technology. Most of them think the internet is basically a series of tubes. Tech law should be its own branch of specialization in order to take on those cases. Oh, I agree. What's something I can study in cybersecurity without getting dumped 3 years later by AI? I think people need to stop thinking that AI is going to replace you in cybersecurity and IT. It's an overhyped thing. Cybersecurity is a multi-specialization thing. I'm gonna go into that in my video when I'm talking about Claude Code security is a little bit overhyped. When people are like, oh, it's gonna, the end of cybersecurity tooling. If you wanna, be good, learn to home lab, be multifaceted. Don't put blinders on and focus on only one side of it. Learn the whole field and then specialize. I can do multiple different parts of it. Like, look, I may not know the ins and outs of identity access management, but I can go and deal with LDAP and SAML and OIDC and, deal with all different kinds of authentication. Except Donald Trump. He's an idiot without the lawyer part. Well, he's just a plain idiot. What's up, Rena? How's it going? Alright, so let's watch what Lewis has on this. Hear that Minecraft, my ASD version source code was dumped on Fortune, and now people are playing it on PC. Interesting.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I wanted to just follow up on a video that I did titled Age Verification is Getting Out of Hand. In this video, I was going over a bill from the state of Colorado. I'm not going to go over every single reason the bill is ridiculous. I went over that in this 7-minute video over here if you're interested. TLDR is when you start using an operating system, it's going to ask for your age. It's not going to ask for your ID, so this is not age verification. This is age indication, so anybody could lie. And the thing that I found stupid about this is that when they're discussing application or software distributors, this could potentially apply to me just going to mirc.com to download an IRC client and then having to indicate my age. There's a number of reasons that this is completely nonsensical. If they were to require ID or proof that
I kind of want that clippy too.
I am, now you're getting into a situation where for me to use a computer in that state, I have to show my ID, which just is creepy. I don't feel like, no, I'm just, no. I don't feel like needing to get permission from my government to use a computer, because at the moment that you say, well, we need to be able to see your ID to do this, they could say, well, we don't want certain people to be allowed to use a computer. It's absolutely insane. It's ridiculous. Now,
Give you the Kevin
California
Mitnick
has
treatment.
proposed a similar law, and one of the things that is bothering me here is where the aggravation is being directed when companies are talking about how to comply with this. System 76 is a cool company. I believe that they resell Clevo computers. They have their own operating system called Pop! OS. Pop! OS is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, a fork of Ubuntu, and
It is. I use Pop! OS. This is Pop! OS 2204. It's one of my main daily drivers that I use. I've been using for a while. But yeah, they're in Colorado. They do use Clevo. They're trying to build their own laptops too. Although there's the COVID supply chain stuff, and now the RAM shortages have hit them from being able to do that. But yeah.
it comes with NVIDIA drivers and a bunch of other stuff, and is somewhat optimized for the systems they sell. So System 76 sells laptops and desktops, but they will sell them with Linux on them, with the idea that when you buy this, everything's going to work. You don't have to deal with this part of the hardware doesn't work or that. They sell it with Linux, which is pretty cool. Now, this company is going to be complying with this law, and there are people discussing this on their subreddit, and they're very clear that they don't want this. I personally hate this bill, they say, and the idiot lawmakers who have pushed it. However, it passed unanimously, minus 3 votes not recorded, in the California Assembly, which has 60 Democratic and 20 Republican members. I would expect similar bills to pass in more states, and it is possible similar legislation would be passed in Europe elsewhere in the future. I do not believe most free and open source software is ready to handle the ludicrous amount of legal liability this kind of legislation introduces. The talk of noncompliance would be fun if there was not a $7,500 fine per child who uses the operating system for the operating system provider performing intentional noncompliance. I can assure you that all Pop! OS and likely many other open source operating systems will do everything possible to prevent identification of users. This bill does not require any identifying information of users to be stored. And they don't like this. And again, signed, my deepest and dearest disdain to Gavin Newsom and the California State Assembly. There's a great post following up on this from somebody saying, if all they're doing is requiring age to be input, not verified at the OS level, why do you think they're doing that? Do you really think that's all they want? You have to know, if they're being honest, that this will only be the first step to get you to comply with an unreasonable mandate and likely unconstitutional, so that they have your company do the work of implementing their demands, so that you will be ready to implement the next step. And you have to know that the next step is the purpose for this first step. They don't care.
Funny that he mentions that, because in my script for this, I literally outlined the 4 steps. Okay? I said step 1, just self-attest your age. Step 2, self-attestation isn't enough. Step 3, we need verification. Step 4, upload ID, face scan, third-party vendor. I literally said this is going to be the thing. I said this in my video. Like, this is recorded. I just have to edit this video. It's recorded. I've got sources cited for this video to be put in. Okay? This is how I do my scripts, by the way. I go back and forth on a text editor, and then I work with one of my LLMs to get it to flow right. Then I put it into my teleprompter. This is how I do it, because I use the Elgato teleprompter stuff, and then read it line by line, and I record it using the OBS, and then do that. But yeah, this is literally what I was saying. So Lewis and I are basically on the same line here, wavelength here. But yeah, I totally agree. This is the same. This is what they want. It's not like, look. This is not about the kids. Fuck the kids. This is not in a Jeffrey Epstein way. This is about control. This has always been about control. The protect the kids is merely a way to backdoor more control over you so they can, hook into getting rid of more privacy. Some of the recent laptops got a perfect 1010 iFixit score. Yeah. System 76 is a pretty great company. I don't buy their desktops, not because I don't like them, but desktops, I've always preferred to build my own desktops. That's just been my preference. I might buy their servers, but desktops, I've always preferred mine. Laptops, I'll buy laptops from them, but I've been preferring Tuxedo computers for some of their stuff. But yeah, this is not about protecting the children. Because one of the things that I said, hold on, blah, 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 where did I put it in here? I said if we were protecting kids, hold on. This is openly expanding. Is he getting more data? Okay. Oh yeah, and then the the FTC. So there's COPPA. COPPA is basically a law that prevents you from using information from children to market to them. FTC says it intends to use enforcement discretion, basically meaning it generally won't bring COPPA cases against certain operators if they collect personal information solely to determine a user's age, as long as they meet conditions like limited purpose, data minimization, prompt deletion, limits on sharing, all that. And that's where I'm calling bull, because they shouldn't be collecting data at all. And I'm supposed to really believe this is for the kids at the end of the day. Where was it? Okay. My point is, as I said, if you want to protect the kids, minimize data, reduce retention, crack down on broker systems, enforce privacy by default, stop building systems that require identity disclosure for basic life activities.
Care about people entering random numbers into a computer as required to get the OS to work. That's clearly not the point. The point is to see who complies with the first step so that you don't have a leg to stand on when they demand what they really want. You know this, you have to know this. The only way your company gets out of this, sadly, is to refuse to do business with states that require these absolutely insane surveillance laws on your property. I think he's right. I think lawmakers are watching this wondering, can we get them to be okay with putting something in the operating that says you must be 18 to do X, Y, and Z? And then, well, listen, you had to know that we were going to ask for your ID at some point, right? You're right. Lewis is correct when he said that this law does nothing because it doesn't ask for ID. You already did this. You ask for ID, right? Because it's easier at that point to get them to ask for ID than it is to get the companies to say, you know what, never mind, we were uncomfortable with this to begin with. Because you already took the first step, people are less likely to take a step back because they've already committed. And that's the arm twisting that I think that is going on here. This is my controversial take here, but my problem was with how many people are crapping on System 76 for saying that they're going to comply with this, rather than crapping on the legislators in the state of Colorado and California. This person over here saying that I'm not going to be doing business with their company anymore. System 76 is going on record saying, we don't want to do this, we hate this, we think these legislators suck. Can you find somebody from Dell or Acer or Asus or Toshiba that's willing to say that? Can you find somebody from Microsoft or Apple that's willing to say that? Not really. And again, to be clear, I am somewhat biased here as a business owner. Because I understand what it's like to have your arm twisted in this particular way. California is not Wyoming. California is almost 40 million people. California is a very large part of the country. And while it is not the entire country, not doing business with that.
Yeah, this is not System 76's fault. System 76 is a relatively small company. But Dell's not going to stop doing this. Lenovo's not going to stop doing this. I mean, they don't make their own operating systems. Microsoft is sure as hell not going to, bow, say, fuck this. They're just going to bow down and say, all right, next Windows update. You got to put your ID in. Conservatives will yell and scream about protecting the children when it comes to trans people, but is it really about the children? In fact, have they ever really given an F about the children? No, they have not. Look at all the things they're jumping through the hoops about with the Jeffrey Epstein crap. Look how many names were dropped in the Jeffrey Epstein case that have still not been brought forward. Like, and I'm on record as I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a F every politician. It's a dick measuring contest. But, like, Donald Trump was in the records, the Epstein, files so much. And no one wants to bat an eye at him. Meanwhile, the UK is at least looking at Prince Andrew and being like, the king's over there being like, yeah, let's charge him. Let's do an investigation. Let's let justice run its course. Meanwhile, over here where Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, how would IT admins be affected? Since you would need to connect your IRL ID to basically every company device during setup. So right now it's self-attestation. So basically you would just have one extra step to just basically say you are 18 plus. The topic of privacy shows you don't that it doesn't matter if it's D or R in control. It's like watching a Globetrotters game. You just don't know which team is which. Yeah, pretty much. I'm just gonna put it another way. There's a saying that I used to say that DNR doesn't stand for Democrat and Republican. It stands for dumb and the R word that shall not be said for somebody with less than a 70 IQ. You know what word that is. No, it's not to protect the kids. It's to stop them, the kids from getting help so they can do Epstein's Island number part 2. Yeah, the funny part is, Republicans were so gung-ho about Hillary Clinton having, pizza parties and this whole thing. And look, y'all know, I have railed on Hillary Clinton and her email server, and I think that she was let off easy on that stuff too. I've been on record about that. I have an entire YouTube video, an hour and a half expose on Signalgate, where I spent like a good 20 minutes, I think, going into the email server and how bad that whole situation was. And they didn't do shit when they realized the PDF files were being held by Republicans just as much, if not more. Friends don't let friends have email servers. Yep, I've also said that. DNR, Department of Natural Resources.
Entire state. If you are a small business that is selling via mail order, that is going to fuck you in a very large way. I understand what it's like to go through this. I had my website almost completely wiped off of Google for 6 months, and I figured out what it is I needed to do to get it back. It just magically started ranking again once I told Gemini, what is it that Google wants my website to say, and then just putting it up there. After 6 months of fucking around and editing my site and updating it in every single way possible in the way that I wanted it to look, nothing worked. I asked Gemini, what do you want it to look like? Boom! I rank. At one point, I was even number 1. Didn't last for long, but I was number 1 for a good period of time. That's crazy. I was this close to the point where I was thinking, let me just sell my website, my Google Maps listing for $5,000 to somebody else, sell all the hardware at my business, close and do something else. I was this close to that just a few months ago. I understand what it's like to be at the point where you're getting drained down to zero and there's not much any choices left. I really hate having conversations with people who have not done anything horribly wrong just to say, I'm sorry, I don't have the money to pay you anymore.
Yep.
You've done nothing wrong. wrong. When I have hired somebody who is a thief or somebody who treats people like shit or breaks everything or has a horrible attitude, firing them is a lot of fun. But when you just walk up to somebody and say,
I've been there.
I'm sorry, California implemented an age verification law, and in order to make people happy on Reddit, we are not selling there anymore. Therefore, all 8 of you have to get laid off. Like, that's a really difficult
Using Gemini to work Google really
empathy
does
for that.
work well.
Now, I'm not saying that it would be right for them to put...
Not really, because Google Gemini is trained on Google stuff in the same way as AWS has Kiro. Now, Kiro allows you to use a lot of other AWS, a lot of different models. Like, you can use Claude Opus with it and stuff like that, the same way you can use GitHub. So if you use GitHub Copilot and you use Opus with it, GitHub Copilot with Opus knows a lot about GitHub. If you have AWS Kiro, use Claude with it, it knows a lot about AWS. There's something with the back end of how it works, because whenever you're running your own front end, you can control a lot of the layers and the instructions you put on top of it. But yeah, that's your point. Okay.
Surveillance into all their products, but I really am not seeing the... but I really rather see the aggravation at the people who made this. Like, I understand why you're mad at System 76, and I also I get that if they do it, everybody else is going to do it. But Microsoft is going to comply with this. Apple's going to comply with this. Major vendors are going to comply with this. After being mad at the legislators, be mad at the $3 to $4 trillion companies that have the resources to push back against these laws that System 76 doesn't. Then be mad at System 76.
Yeah.
But we need to push together against the people who are actually screwing us. The people who are screwing us are the legislators that are coming up with these age verification laws, not System 76. Yeah, you could stop using System 76 because the Linux distribution that they bundle with it asks for your age. But what are you going to go to? You're going to go buy a laptop from Acer where they bundle it by default with Windows 11? Like, what are we doing here? I mean, you don't have to use their operating system on their computer. You can use another operating system on their computer. And I appreciate that when they're putting their devices together, they're putting their products together with the mind.
Yeah, I don't understand the heat on Pop OS. This isn't any of their doing. They don't have the money to lobby like Microsoft and Apple do, like Lewis has been saying. Interesting face to pause on, by the way. But the fact that Microsoft and Apple didn't lobby against this and they've been silent just says more to me.
I want to make sure that this works with Linux. Like, I don't own a System 76 computer. I'm not saying this because I own stock in their company or I'm a fanboy. I just really hope that people stay mad at the people who actually created this problem rather than the people that are debating internally, do we push back against this and lay off 10 or 30 people, or do we go ahead with the same thing that every other company is being forced to go ahead with so that we can stay in business? And obviously, I'm biased as somebody who has been through this very experience.
I just witnessed someone fighting with a bald dude, and the guy fighting with him said, "Go burn your name through the roof somewhere else." That one's going in the books. What the hell? People put the heat on them because that's the first thing they see. I swear people can't see past what's in their face. Yeah, if you can't read why they are doing this is not because, hey, if System 76 was like, hey, we're going to start doing this because we feel like doing this, that would have been one thing. But if System 76 is not doing this because they want to do this, they're doing this because they have to do this, because they'll get fined a shit ton for it. Took some thought, but eventually I got it.
It's very recent. It sucks that in the modern world that many companies are faced with stick with your principles and stop being a business, or, you know, deal with the world as it is. It's not fun. Just the rant. I'll just put this day where it belongs, please.
RLD 411 is now chilling in the lab.
I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.
Hey, thank you for the follow. Yeah, it's unfortunate that this is happening. Because I didn't consider that it would be happening to Pop OS and that they're a Colorado site. I'll have to try to remember to make a update. What is this? PlugOS.net that Kara shared. I would need to Wireshark this and see the code, but it's also a MediaTek. I don't trust it, but don't trust. Well, you can plug Android into iPad to use old iPad as display, but it's from China. Wait, what? You can put this into a device? Huh. I don't know if, yeah, I don't know if I would trust that. I might build my own kind of equivalent, if anything. I don't know if that works with an iPad, but we'll see. And what's this that they shared? Kali Linux has officially incorporated a native AI-assisted penetration testing workflow, allowing security professionals to issue natural language commands through Anthropic Claude's AI, which are translated into live terminal commands in a Kali Linux environment, all connected via open-source Model Context Protocol. Interesting. So the interesting thing about this is, since Kali is the operating system that's used in the OSCP, I think that officially means that you can now use LLMs in the OSCP. Huh. Interesting. That looks like a Tails OS vibe code, pretty much. What browser do I use? I use Florp. It's a fork of Firefox. Alright. This might be the last video of the night. From Deep Humor, Persona calls out Discord for lying. Them's fighting words, Discord.
So as I'm sure we all know, Discord released a statement basically backtracking on their age verification and saying that they're going to release it later this year instead of early March like they planned. In part of their statement that we went over yesterday, we were actually talking about the fact that Discord called out Persona and said that Persona didn't meet the bar of expectation that Discord had. So let me just read this out here. One of our core goals with age assurance is to give you options. As part of that, we've been evaluating multiple vendors to offer a range of verification options people are comfortable with. One of those evaluations was with Persona, a company used by platforms like Roblox and Reddit. In January, we ran a limited test with Persona in the UK only. After completing the test, we decided not to move forward with them. And consistent with our privacy policy, all data was deleted after completing verification. We've set a new bar for any partner offering facial age estimation, including that it must be performed entirely on device, meaning your biometric data never leaves your phone. Persona did not meet that bar. So they essentially threw Persona under the bus and were just like, yeah, you know, it was mainly their fault. So just go ahead and blame them. So Rick Song, who has actually been pretty active on Twitter recently, who is Persona's co-founder and CEO, actually
You're the hold up. Let's put this out there. You run Persona. You are the CEO of an identity company that handles facial recognition. Hey, chat, what do you know that's missing on his profile? Anybody notice what's missing? I don't have the Jeopardy music, but do 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 do. He has no profile photo. This guy is having you put your information to prove who you are. But ironically, he doesn't have a profile himself. Imagine that. Okay, anyway.
actually called out Discord for lying. I'm gonna go ahead and read out what he says, and then you guys can.
He called out Discord for lying. Okay.
Honestly, I think both parties suck here, but let's just see what Rick has to say. We understand Discord is proceeding with age verification without Persona, but some of the implications in this blog post about the capabilities and features of Persona are patently false. I am fine if they don't want to use us. I'm not okay with them publicly saying untrue things about our age assurance technologies to try to shift responsibility away from their own decisions. Doing so further erodes trust. We've set a new bar for any partner offering facial age estimation information, including that it must be performed entirely on device, meaning your biometric data never leaves your phone. Persona did not meet that bar. They're quoting Discord over here. And this is the response. We offer on-device age verification. We even offered credit card-based age verification for free, their new approach. We made this clear to Discord multiple times. So
oh, damn. Okay, I'm not a fan of Persona, as you know, but I'm inclined to take Persona's side in this argument because that is a low bar in product offerings, and I don't see them lying about something like this that could be so provably false, if not true. So why is Discord throwing Persona under the bus in such a way? Now, Persona being tied potentially to the U.S. government with, you know, the ability to have that data linked into federal databases, allegedly, and things like that, like cybersecurity researchers have been alleging, all that. That's another point. But that's not this. This feels like Discord didn't want to own that they fucked up. They didn't want to own it.
they're basically saying
Which, by the way, I do have a Discord server, but if you don't want to join my Discord server because you don't want to be on Discord, that's okay. We got you. Because we have a Matrix server. I host a Matrix server! It's a decentralized, federated, protocol with optional encryption. Like a Discord kind of thing. But as you can see, we have conversations there. But yes, Matrix is a good alternative. It is. You can join other Matrix servers. And by the way, when we say Matrix server, we don't mean the bullshit Discord way of, no, you're just joining somebody else's set of rooms in Discord. You're really always on Discord server. But you can, you're on my server. So is my server end-to-end encrypted? So not all the rooms are, but there is one room that is encrypted. So you have general, and then you have secure general. And then, of course, you can optionally have end-to-end encrypted DMs. Now, I'm not moving from Discord, but I use Discord and Matrix. I use the Element client on my phone and on my desktops. Obviously. But, yeah. A lot of people are hosting on matrix.org, but I host my own server, and the Matrix invites are on the links.chiefgeek3d.com under the socials. But if you want to join the Discord server, you're more than welcome to join the Discord server. The Matrix server has a little over 100 people in there. The Discord server is a little over 1,000, so there's definitely more in the Discord server. But the Matrix server is growing, and I still have to do more work to get more Matrix stuff set up over there. Oh, Jessica, for your I am loving ass, you'll love this. If you play with Matrix on the back end, you can do SAML authentication on your own server. SAML on your own. That's right. Sexy, ain't it? There's a reason why European governments have been moving to the Matrix protocol. Do they offer an OIDC option? You know, I'm not entirely sure. But this is what European governments have been moving over to as well. Like, there's even some European militaries that have been using it. But yeah, you can do federated communications that you can talk to each other. So, like, I'll hop over. This is Louis Rossmann's Matrix server. This is the Louis Rossmann Rossman Repair Group, his Matrix server. I'm on this server from my server. I didn't have to log into another server. I joined it from my account on my server on his server. It's federated. Like, think email. Like how you have one email address and then you can just email everybody. Same way.
We already gave Discord the option to have credit card age verification, and from what Rick is implying, Discord said, nah, we're good. We want ID age verification and AI facial scans. Throughout our partnership, Discord was explicitly looking for a provider who could prevent, quote, fraud, deepfakes, bots using video game photo mode.
You don't have one email. That's
we were transparent about the real technological limitations and capabilities of on-device solutions, which I shared elsewhere on the platform. We were upfront that on-device solutions can create a, quote, privacy for only the wealthy problem, where only those with higher end devices would be able to run the necessary models. We understood that they had experienced recent bypasses that could cause regulatory scrutiny. Many of us here at Persona are huge fans of Discord, and some have been users since 2015. We were eager and willing to partner with them to address all these challenges. So yeah, in terms of the things that Rick is saying and Discord is saying, I don't really know what's true or false. Both of these parties seem pretty shady to me, but he actually had a lot more to say down below. Yesterday, I met with the Discord team expressing condolences for the media attention to the situation and apologies for our involvement in it, and understanding for why they no longer wanted to move forward with us. When they mentioned they were going to only evaluate vendors who offer on-device facial age estimation tech, we again shared that we do offer this tech, but can still appreciate why they no longer want to move forward with us given the current media cycle. We asked explicitly for them not to say that this is the reason why they're not moving forward with us. We tried to never comment on anything.
Here's my prediction. Discord will eventually lose popular as a result of age verification. Discord self-hosted alternatives will become popular like Matrix. The traditional Matrix clones causing a great decentralization and compatibility problems. A centralized solution will come about and cross-compatibility between all agents through the use of an API. Well, Matrix is a protocol. Matrix isn't an application, it's a protocol. So, Matrix is the API, if you want to think about it that way. But, yeah. So, it's not going to happen that way. So, if you go to Matrix, what is it, matrix.org, they spell it out. And Matrix can bridge to other platforms. So, you can use Matrix to bridge to Signal. You can use Matrix to bridge to Slack and all these other platforms. There is a way you can use Matrix. Somebody's made it to bridge into Discord. So eventually, I'm going to bridge the Discord rooms to my Matrix rooms so that the people in my Matrix and Discord should be mostly able to talk to each other. Yeah, it's not another app. Element is the app that I use for Matrix. There's like 3 or 4 different apps you can use with Matrix. Element's just the one I like.
In public, customer, or otherwise, even...
It's like Mastodon. Mastodon happens to use ActivityPub, but ActivityPub's just a protocol. And then you also have like Lemmy and PixelFed and like all these other different things, but they all can interact with each other.
When, and then he actually names the 3 people who kind of exposed that Persona data leak recently.
Ooh, the VM Funk thing, I'm going to touch on that.
Posted their research about us. Our first instinct was to reach out directly in private to offer context. No lawyers, just me. We've avoided commenting on the nature of our engagement with Discord throughout the entire situation, with journalists, with independent media, and even with our internal teams. When they published this blog post, our team tried to reach out to multiple people on their team to work with them to correct this narrative. We were met with a cold shoulder from their team. We won't be able to make any revisions to our public statement. And he linked this tweet from this VM Funk guy saying Persona's CEO emailed no lawyers, which I respect.
Messages?
I told him
yeah,
to
you
answer
can
the
bridge
18
Slack
questions
and
in writing.
stuff.
Everything is on the record and documented. Balls in their court, part 2 coming soon. Hiya, Rick. I appreciate you reaching out. Thanks for not leading with lawyers. That already puts you ahead of most companies who find their entire code base on the front page of Hacker News. So genuinely, thank you. Sending the CEO instead of outside counsel says something, and I want to
switch
acknowledge
to Linux
because
I have no other laptop to try it on. I can't
sounds like they were having decent communication
Use a virtual machine.
The three hacktivists and Rick, but it seems like they had a bit of a falling out, but who knows, maybe they might be able to actually talk it out. We are proud of our partnerships that many of the leading companies in this space, as Discord called out. They choose to work with us because of our strong stance on privacy and data retention, our staunch adherence to regulations, and most importantly, our engineering and security first approach to product. I have worked in identity for over 10 years now, and I started Persona with a small founding team nearly 8 years ago. We started this company because we believe that if identity must be processed, it needs to be done so responsibly, securely, and with all the resources and attention a problem as sensitive as your identity deserves.
Says the guy that has no identity profile.
We believe that it's not realistic to ask companies to ever allocate enough focus to this problem. I know as the one who used to beg for more resources, and we believe that a company built by engineers whose sole mission is to do identity right. Okay, so he keeps going here. I mean, he ends up writing an entire book here, but I just want to give my opinion on some of the things that he said. So here's my thing, right? There's no bias against Persona as opposed to any other third-party vendors. You know, the people who are against age verification, we don't like any of the third-party vendors, and we don't like any of the websites that are doing ID age verification because we believe it's an invasive process to our privacy.
Right, it's not the issue of the company, it's the issue against the idea what the company proposes to perform.
So it's nothing personal against him or Persona, right? However, I cannot ignore the fact, and I'm sure all of you guys watching cannot ignore the fact, that Persona specifically seems to be having data leak after data leak, being exposed after exposed. I already made that video talking about it where Persona had that, you know, I guess we can call it a leak, where those three hacktivists were able to find all that.
Well, and the issue is not just that they're having data leak after data leak, but by virtue of having the data given to them, the risk is always implicitly there that it can be exposed. The risk is never zero unless we never hand them that data in the first place. So from a cybersecurity perspective, we want to remove that risk altogether by minimizing that data. And that's what we learn in cybersecurity, is that it's not, oh, you know, we should secure the data. It's we should minimize how much data we should give, and then when we give data, we secure it. You don't hand over the entire treasure chest and secure it. You hand over just what you need and then secure it. But in my opinion, you don't need to hand your ID to say, I want to use Discord. You don't need to hand your ID to say, I want to use my computer. I want to play a video game. Do you see the point there? I wonder if it's because Grok, though. Maybe he doesn't want his photo with that. Maybe, but who knows. It's actually crazy how certain tech companies can't be this shit and actually still get contracts like this.
Information on that code base. And then they also had one with LinkedIn where it was essentially being proven that they were sending all of the LinkedIn people's information to all these different sources. Could there be some nuance there? Could there be some details that were screwed up? Maybe, but why is Persona always a third-party vendor that's getting into issues? That is also without acknowledging the fact that even without the recent events that have happened with Persona, they've also been sued multiple times throughout the year. Persona is also funded by Peter Thiel, who's also another very shady character. So again, as much as I'd love to be charitable and give Rick the benefit of the doubt, I just have no faith in Persona anymore because of all of their recent controversies and, you know, their controversies throughout the years. Talk about safety all you want, but at the end of the day, everybody watching this video, me and all the other people on the internet, we just don't want ID age verification because it is just a very invasive process. AI facial scan.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about safety, like I said, the safest thing to do is not give your ID at all.
And suck too. I mean, hell, even the credit card verification sucks too because there's just so much risk involved. But anyways, again, he has a lot more to say. There's been a lot of talk about how much Persona's platform does. First, there's no customer who uses all of the 269 checks. There's not even one that comes close to using them all. We gate many of our features and require additional due diligence and permissible purpose before customers can have access to them. The reason why our platform offers so much is because our vision is to build the best identity platform for every use case. Our platform needs to support a wide range of capabilities in order to support all use cases: KYC, AML, online payments, account security, marketplace fraud, remote employee verification, age verification, digital health, gaming, online degrees, and more. But we believe that no matter why you
shouldn't need it for gaming. Shouldn't need it for age verification. I don't get it for, like, some of these. This is the problem.
you need to verify. Your identity should be verified securely.
You mean to tell me you can leak data like this, like a fucking faucet, and somehow companies like Discord find this okay?
And your data handled
Well,
responsibly.
Discord walked
Despite how
away from
powerful
this
our
company.
platform is, we have a simple business.
So
We
apparently
verify
they
your identity
didn't.
securely, retain it for only as long as necessary on behalf of the customer, and then delete it as soon as we can. Companies pay us to do this correctly. We do not sell your data. Now, again, right? Like, let's just say, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say everything that you said was true. Then how come your data just keeps ending up in all these different places? Obviously, we already talked about the Persona data code-based thing that those 3 activists had exposed. And then the whole LinkedIn thing happened with Persona as well. And they've also apparently had several lawsuits for not being too good in the privacy standpoint. So yeah, it's just too many boxes being checked of like you guys having like these safety issues. So I can't necessarily just take your word for it. I get it that it's your company and then you have to defend it. But you also have to understand and be objective about the fact on why people would be so skeptical about using Persona. Given how the situation has evolved, I want to get these statements out there now. I probably should have sooner. So he's just going to list out some things that people think about Persona and he's going to explain his point of view.
We were not hacked or breached. Yeah, you were. Many times.
Number 1 is that they were not hacked or breached. Number 2 is they do not send your identity to the government. Our financial services customers can file anti-money laundering reports on payment transactions through our platform to the government. We do not use your data to train AI. We do not work with ICE or the DHS. We do not work with any federal agency. We are competing for government contracts to be able to authenticate remote government employees. We do not work with Palantir. We do not interact with Peter Thiel. We did take money from Founders Fund, which he co-founded. It's pretty much what people are saying. People aren't saying that Peter Thiel like runs your company or something. People are just saying that you guys have taken significant funding from him, which seems to be true. Our customers are generally the data controller under GDPR parlance. We invest a lot to give them the controls to retain and redact it properly. We schedule for deletion any data we are the data controller of after verification. More importantly, we have no interest in your data. We do not profit off of it. In fact, it's the opposite. The liability is too great and the fines are too high. Lastly, I want to take accountability as well. I should have been on this platform earlier. I should have been engaging with the public sooner. Given what we do, I owe the public far more transparency than I've given it.
Says the guy with no profile picture. Hey, I want to be transparent. No profile picture. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get off that point.
I didn't because I'm scared of you. I'm scared of the internet. This past week has been terrifying.
I'm scared of a person on the internet with no face.
A cyborg, but I have also not slept much. I've been operating on adrenaline and fear. Social media is insane. When many of us felt anxiety and frustration about the fear-mongering and hysteria being induced by the media. We have not earned anyone's trust, and rightfully so, but if we aren't willing to trust them first, then why should we have the right to ask for it in return? And through believing this, despite a rough welcome, I've had delightful conversations. I've enjoyed whimsical exchanges, and I've had the opportunity to share what we've learned about identity, but also learning from you about what we're missing. I've learned more about how imperfect we are, but also how understanding you can be. I plan to engage more on this platform to provide the transparency that you should have already had and also correct when things are wrong, whether that's what people are saying or what we're doing. To start, here is our best account for why our source maps were made public. I won't always get it right, but I'll always try to be genuine. And then he also went to go ahead and respond to some people that was commenting, replying to what he had posted as well. So I just want to be fair here. I've made these videos talking about like these potential data leaks that Persona has had. I've talked about the whole LinkedIn thing, and I've mentioned some of their lawsuits. So I just wanted to give Rick the benefit of the doubt, show you guys his whole statement. Now I will leave it to you guys to make your own conclusions. Me personally, as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't have trust in Discord and I don't have trust in Persona. It's not because I have anything personal against Rick or anything like that. It's just when all of these, alleged, I guess I'll say alleged data leaks happen with Persona, with LinkedIn, with the whole code base, with the lawsuits, with all that type of stuff, it just makes it very difficult for me to trust anything that he is saying or even anything that Discord is saying. I know these two are, kind of like fighting right now, but yeah, I don't really trust either one of them.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to trust either one.
Trusting either one of them either. At the end of the day, this is all about that one thing that we can keep talking about. We do not want ID age verification. We do not want AI facial scans. It is invasive. It violates our privacy. You can't use that logic of, social media is dangerous for kids. Well, then fucking be a parent and parent your children. Guardians, take care of your children. I mean, at the end of the day, man, the internet in general is just dangerous. So, I mean, come on. You have to make sure that your kids aren't on it 24/7, and you have to make sure that you're a good parent. But I don't want to go back into that rant. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. Persona has essentially called out Discord for lying about them. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more. See ya.
All right. Well, I have to go into the office tomorrow. So, if we have next to no privacy laws for our data, then they don't get this. I agree with that. Rick Song. Yeah, I have to go into the office tomorrow. I will definitely have to check out this guy's LinkedIn. But Yeah. Anyway, holy shit, he doesn't have a profile on his LinkedIn. He's a second connect. Who do I have that's connected to him? Somebody I know in my circle knows him. Oh, that's gonna be an interesting dive in OSINT. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But anyway, if you haven't already, make sure find me on all of my socials. I am on. I have some new YouTube videos. There's gonna be another YouTube video tomorrow, and there'll be more YouTube videos coming out. I recorded 2 videos today. I'm gonna get some more edited later. And of course, make sure, if you haven't already, to join the Discord. Join the Matrix server if you don't like Discord. We have that option. We have your fix for Discord. It's open source. But anyway, yeah. Follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on Mastodon, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Discord, Matrix. I'm everywhere. And TikTok, of course. But love you all. Stay safe. Happy hacking. If you are on Twitch, stick around for the raid. Otherwise, I will see you all later. The next official stream is Wednesday night. I may do an extra stream at some point. We got to do some gaming on Linux. Get back into that swing of things. We still got to rock this 5070 Ti and see how it works on 1440p now that I got these new monitors. But, yeah. So, happy hacking. Love you all.